Hello, Mialisia, everybody. We are going to go ahead and get started with our second ever corporate conference call, our Power Hour training. Today we are doing craft and trade shows with Annelise, and she has prepared some wonderful advice for you guys. We've got some questions coming through. If you have questions that you think of throughout the call or that you have right now that you want answered, email us, support@mialisia.com. or submit them to our Facebook or our Twitter. I'll be monitoring the social medias and kind of updating our list of questions that we want to have answered for you guys. So we also wanted to let you know next week is going to be another Q&A with Sean. So throughout this week, if you or your downline have any questions that you want answered on the Q&A call with Sean, email those to support@mialisia.com. or submit them to our Facebook or our Twitter, and we will go ahead and get a running list of questions for you guys. Also, because next Monday is Labor Day, we are going to be doing the call on Tuesday. So if you were planning on dialing in, plan on doing it on Tuesday, same time, same number and everything. We're just going to do it a little bit later so that everybody can spend the day with their families and enjoy the holiday, okay? So I think that's everything. I'm going to go ahead and turn the time over to Annelise for craft and trade show training.
Thank you, Michael. We are just so excited. It is a good day, and we're just grateful, first of all, for all of you and for your excitement and your enthusiasm. Things are just going so great, and we're just so grateful for all of your hard work out there. So let's talk about craft and trade shows. As most of you know, that is what we built our previous company, Bling Time, on, and that was like the majority of our income is doing those craft and trade shows. So we've had a little bit of experience with that. So I'm just going to go over some of my best tips that I can give you for what I learned in doing these shows. So the first thing we can talk about is knowing which shows to do. And this can be tricky because there's definitely good shows and not so good shows out there. And the thing that I learned is talking to other vendors who have done this for a long time is very valuable. It can be very helpful because they know there are a lot of people out there that do craft and trade shows for a living. That's all they do. And so they've learned, they've done them all, and they know which ones are good, and they know what the customer base for most shows are. So sometimes it's good to just go to shows and experience them, walk around, talk to vendors, find out what they think, get their input and their opinions, and find out what shows are good. Sean and I kind of had a rule that we liked to do shows that had 20,000 or more people coming through. Those generally were really good shows. You want to get into the shows that have as much traffic as possible. We found that the best shows were, of course, during the holidays. From September to December were our dynamite shows, and there are tons and tons of shows during that time. There were a few in the spring that we did that were pretty good shows, but even at that, they were about half of what our fall shows were. So if you're only going to do a certain amount of shows in a year, I would say, pick your fall shows and get into them as soon as possible. Some shows you have to apply way in advance. So I would say, get on, do your research, find out, which shows you want to do, and then find out what your application dates are. A lot of the shows that we did in the fall, we had to apply for at the very beginning of the year and pay for too. So, be ready for that. Some shows you only have to pay, half down. Some of them want all the money up front. So that, keep that in mind. That can be an expense that you have to sit on for a while before it pays off. But it can definitely be worth it if it's some of the better shows. You want to be careful with the handmade craft shows. We've already had some people experience this where they signed up for a show and didn't realize that everything has to be handmade by the vendor to be in that show, and so they weren't able to do it. So, just watch out for those. There's quite a few of those out there, and unfortunately those are some of the really good shows, but, because this is, not a handmade company by yourself, then you won't be able to do those shows, so just be aware of that. Fairs can be really good. The Iowa State Fair was like our motherlode show of the year. We loved that. We had huge success at that. And they got I think $1.8 million through that show. And so So it was good, but keep in mind with county fairs and, small state fairs and things like that, think about what you go to the fair to do. Most people, let's be honest, go to fairs for food, right? The deep fried Twinkies and the pork chop on a stick and all of that. And they go to ride rides and have fun and just wander around and, for the experience. And so a very small percentage of people go to fairs to buy. So it's a great way to get your name out there, to do some recruiting, maybe booking some parties, but you may not have as many sales depending on the fair that it is. Like I said, if you're doing one with humongous numbers, like, 1.8 million, then you're going to do okay selling. So just keep that in mind. So I would just say tailor your expectations and be adaptable. Some shows are going to be great selling shows, and some shows are going to, be more for recruiting. And that's where you guys have an advantage over what we did previously with our Bling Time company is all we had was sales. So if we didn't do well on sales, that was it. We weren't recruiting and we weren't doing parties. And so I always tell people I would so much rather book a party than sell, a few pieces of, jewelry, because you're going to get so much more out of that, and it's just going to keep going. From every party you can book another party, and your sales are going to be so much better. So don't be disappointed and don't get discouraged if you don't sell a ton. As long as you're working on recruiting and booking parties as well, I think you can have success. And also, don't be afraid to do smaller shows too, because I think we've had some good experiences at smaller shows where they only got a small amount of people. Like one of our designers actually did a show where they only got like 200 or 300 people through the show. It was a very small show, but they still did like $600 in sales, and they booked a bunch of parties and recruited a few people, and so it was very successful. So if you don't have to spend a lot of money and, you've got the time to do it, then it's probably, it can be worth your time. You are going to have shows that just aren't great, and it just happens. We had plenty of those experiences, and you just have to not get discouraged. It's just a numbers game. Just keep doing it and learning, and don't be afraid to try different things and, experiment with what works and what doesn't, and you're going to get in a groove, and you're going to learn, and you're going to get better at it. So don't get discouraged. Just keep on going, and just know, have flexible expectations, because every show is going to be a little bit different. Okay, so we talked about which shows to do. Now let's talk about some things that you can bring to the show, just some things that I've learned over the years. Number one, you want to bring help. You want to bring someone to help you, and whether you're sharing a booth with, someone in your downline, or you bring a friend or two to help you. At our most busy shows, we had 3 to 4 people helping me. And the reason for that is this is more than just people coming into your booth and just shopping and buying, okay? We're trying to give these people a concept experience, and if you don't share that concept with everyone that comes into the booth, you're going to miss sales. And so, make sure your show, know what kind of gauge what to expect and how many people are coming through this show, and have some people to help you demonstrate and to help check people out and all of that. You can share a booth with other designers. Just be careful with that. You don't want to get too many, because that's going to cut into your profits, and also it can get kind of confusing, especially if people are bringing different inventory. There can be issues there. So just be really careful with doing that. I'm not opposed to it at all, but just have a plan and an agreement before you go into it, so there isn't any contention or issues with dividing up inventory and sales and recruits and all of that. So just have a plan there. Inventory. We get this question so much. How much inventory should I bring? I don't know. Do I want a ton? Okay, and what I will tell you is women, we're impulse buyers, right? Especially when it comes to stuff like this. If you see it and you want it, we want it now, right? So if you have some inventory on hand, you'll probably sell a little bit more. I'm not saying that you have to, but women are impulsive and they like to take it now. So if you can afford to have some inventory on hand, then great, have some inventory. Again, know your show. If this is, a big gift show, like a holiday gift show, you're going to sell a lot more, and you're going to want to have some on hand. I always tell people, bring your favorite pieces. Stock up on the pieces that you love the most, or the pieces that you're selling the most at your fashion events. You'll start to, see patterns of things that are more popular. But it was funny, at all of the trade shows that we did, all of the girls that would help me, we all had our favorite pieces, and those were the pieces that we sold the most of. That's what you're wearing, it's what you're demonstrating with, and women see it, and it's just funny, they want it. So, inventory, it's up to you. But what I would do is put it out, display, one of everything, one or two of everything, and then, keep your inventory underneath and do it that way. You can also take orders. And there's, if you run out of something, that's great. Or if you don't have something, to say, no big deal. I'm just going to place this order for you right now. Our warehouse ships within, 24 to 48 hours, and you will have that, within a week. And how nice you don't even have to carry it around the show. It's just going to ship straight to your house, and you'll have that really quick. So, hopefully people won't get discouraged. Some you might lose some sales over that because people really want it right then. But I think most people are going to be flexible and say, oh, all right, I can wait for that. Okay, some other things that you can bring. Bring a cash box and have plenty of change, okay? A lot of people shop with credit cards, but a lot of people also use cash. And so there were times when we ran out of change, and it was really frustrating. We're running around from vendor to vendor trying to find change. And when you're busy, that's just a really frustrating thing to have happen. So make sure that you have plenty of change. A calculator so you can calculate totals and things like that. If you want to get a little cash register, that works too. If it's going to be a very busy show, that was very helpful for us. We had a cash register, and that really helped us. Make sure you have receipt paper and all of that. Some sort of credit card machine. If you're going to do cash and carry, pretty much everyone now at the vendor shows has some sort of credit card, whether you want to, lease a credit card terminal or if you want to just do the little squares. I know those work really great. But you're going to want to make sure that you have, internet access if you're using an iPad or a laptop. A lot of people carry a hotspot with them. A lot of the shows, provide wireless internet. You usually have to pay a little bit extra to use that, but it's a lot of times that's a good route to go if you're going to need to use credit cards, which you'll want to plan on. I would say bring extension cords. That was the one thing that we always needed. Duct tape is always handy. We loved our duct tape, and you would be amazed what you can use duct tape for. Bring bags. We now have cute little Mialisia gift bags available in the back office, and people are impressed by that, and it's good advertisement too. If you have a bunch of ladies walking around that fair or trade show with a cute little Mialisia bag, everyone's going to say, what is that? What's Mialisia? And they'll want to know. So it's good advertisement. I would recommend getting some tissue paper. You can get tissue paper for so cheap in bulk. Like, go on uline.com, or there's a ton of just different places online that you can order tissue paper. And we ordered big sheets of it, and we cut it into like fourths. You don't need a huge piece, but I think it's nice if you can wrap up their separate pieces and, put them in the bag. I think that, more is more sometimes, make it look fancy and people feel special. Bring some snacks to eat because you're going to get hungry, but then keep in mind that you don't want to stand out in front of everyone and eat. Don't forget your catalogs, your concept booklets, your opportunity brochures, and most of all, your business cards. You want to be able to get your information out there. And every catalog and concept booklet and opportunity brochure you hand out should have your information on it, whether you staple a business card to it. I've seen a lot of people just get labels, and you print your information on the labels and just stick those on everything. Just put them on everything. It wouldn't even hurt to stick it on your little organza bag with each piece of jewelry, that you sell. Just make sure that your name is all over the place so they know where to go when they want more, because they will want more. And so just get your information on everything. I would print up some email signups, okay? I was really surprised. We just, we had a sheet by our checkout that we would, gather people's information. And when, as people are checking out, you always want to get their information so you can follow up with them and see how much they love their jewelry. And we always had this little table kind of out by the aisle by, some of our displays. And I was amazed at how many people would just stop and put their information on it, write their email. We would do like a little drawing, like, for every show we would do a drawing for people that would just put their email down and their information, their phone number, their email, and their name. And, we would do a drawing and call them and give away a free, piece of jewelry. And it was well worth it because we just got hundreds of emails that way at shows. So print up a little email sign up. Let's see. Okay, so let's talk about display. first of all, you want to leave yourself plenty of time to set up. Trust me, you don't want to be like scrambling at the last minute as customers are starting to come in and you're not done setting up. So make sure that you have plenty of time, especially the first few times that you're, setting up your display. You want your display to be attractive. Okay, you don't have to go super over the top, but you want it to be eye-catching. There's a lot of times you go to these shows and vendors have, a table and a banner and their stuff just spread out, and it's just like kind of boring. I'm kind of a more is more person, and I definitely went kind of to the extreme with my display, our previous display, and so, but I don't think, you don't have to, but you want it to be good, okay? So you want to utilize your space well. We chose to have doors. We just used interior doors, and we hinged them together, and then we were able to use the entire space. So most shows will have like a curtain backdrop, and that's about it. You can hang your banner across the back there. But if you have some sort of like grid wall or doors or something that you can utilize the wall space to, you can hang up a ton of display stuff, and that helps to utilize that space.
It's like 2-3 minutes.
Okay, let's see. Oh, you want it to be well lit. Have good lighting. The more lights, just the more attractive it looks, and people will be drawn in. We use clip lamps. I just went to Target and bought tons of these cute little black clip lamps, and you want to use soft white light. Just don't use any sort of fluorescent lighting. It just doesn't make the jewelry look good. If you use a soft white light, and then just put as much lighting as you can. And we just kind of strung them all together and ran the extension cords around the perimeter. But you can clip those to the tables and to your, walls and anything. Just try to have as much light on the jewelry as possible, because that really helps it look good. Use the corporate colors, please. We want to brand ourselves. We want people to know, what Mialisia is, and those should be in your back office. I think there's like a little Pantone color guide of our corporate colors. There's 4 different colors. You've got the gray and the light peach and the dark purple and the cream color. So those are, good colors. You can find stuff in those colors, fabrics, and we will have Mialisia branded tablecloths in our back office. Hopefully this fall is what we're shooting for, to have those. We're going to have banners. Print your posters. Use the corporate posters of the model shots, and all that stuff is really eye-catching and will help. Mirrors. Mirrors are a must, okay? And whether you just get those cheap, like tall, wardrobe mirrors that you just kind of lean up around, you can do that. I've seen people get just big, like wrought iron easels and stick tall, kind of narrow mirrors on the tables. But women want to see what they've created, and they have a hard time creating without looking in a mirror. So you want mirrors all over. Have a good concept display, and we're going to be working on coming out with some good posters that kind of show the concept a little bit better. But in the meantime, something that always worked really well for us is we would take, 6 necklace forms, and we would do the same 2 pieces on every necklace form, just different. So they could see all these different looks, and we had a little sign that said, one necklace, infinite possibilities, or one jewelry, one piece of jewelry, infinite possibilities, and, or how many different ways can you wear your necklace, and it just shows all the different, stuff that will get people's attention. You want them to see, what the jewelry can do. Have samples out of everything to, for people to play with. If it's all like super fancy looking and it's all on necklace forms and all displayed perfectly, people are going to be afraid to touch it. We found that people are very hesitant to take things off a display. So if you have pieces laying and hanging and stuff without tags and, just something that looks like it's a sample for them to pick up and try on, they will try it on. And that is our goal. We want to get the jewelry on the women. We want to get them playing with it. So so make sure you've got plenty of samples out there for them to play with. As far as the booth setup goes, your configuration, I would tell you I would have 2 or 3 different configurations that you can do that will work for you, because every space is going to be a little bit different, and you're going to want to be flexible with this. And so you get to the show, you're going to kind of see your space and just, be adaptable and have a few different ways that it can work. You want to have really good flow in your booth. You don't want to block it off. A lot of times people will just put a table across the front and display their stuff, and that's it. That is not a good use of space, put your table against the back, or, put a table directly down the middle so people can get all the way around it. Play with it and see what works best, because I can tell you there is nothing more frustrating than being at a busy show and your booth is packed and there's all these people that are trying to get in. They're just standing there because it's blocked, it's not set up good, and they just can't even get in to see the stuff. So what are they going to do? They're going to walk away. Most people won't stand there and try and get in. So make sure it's set up to have good flow. Have your checkout place in a place that's not going to block people from looking at the jewelry. So a lot of times we would kind of be on the outside corner. So if people started to line up, they could kind of be out in the aisle lined up. I mean, you don't want to block other people's, booths. So be aware of that. Be careful there. But just have it in a place where they're not going to, block the flow. And then just move quickly. Use order forms, have people fill them out and just move as quickly as you can. And that's where the help comes in, having plenty of people to help you there. It's very useful to have the demo video playing. If you just push play on that little demo video and have a little TV out there, it's a good eye-catching. So many people would stop and watch our little demo video when we did the shows. We had a TV kind of on the outside corner. You can put it up high where it won't get knocked over. But people will stop. It's an attention getter. Just put it on a loop and just have it play over and over again, and that grabs good attention. A lot of people ask about putting price tags on the jewelry. And I always say, we don't want people to have a retail experience. If they walk up, and think about it. When you go into a store and you see something you like, what's the first thing you do? You grab the price tag and you look at it. And if it's too much, you're like, ooh, I'm not going to buy that. Okay, so what you want to do is maybe not put price tags on it. I would think no, because we want to teach people the concept and help them understand the value before they see the price. Even though our stuff is priced amazingly well, you're still going to get those people that if they look at it and think, oh, this is just a necklace, $40 for just a necklace, they're going to walk away. But if they know the concept and they understand the value of it, that this is not just a necklace, you can wear this 12 different ways, then it's going to change their whole outlook on price. And so I don't think that it's necessary. It's up to you, of course, if you want to put prices on things. But in that case, I would just make sure that every single person that comes into that booth gets a demonstration, which is a good goal to have anyway. So that's some stuff on display. Let's talk about selling. So I always tell people the first thing you need to do is practice. Practice using that jewelry. Stand in front of your mirror and practice as many different looks as you can. Come up with a system on how you demonstrate and practice in the mirror. Start with this look and then go to this look. And there's a way of doing the looks that will flow smoother. Okay, so you're going to do this look and then you're going to take this piece off and make it a bracelet and then you're going to layer this piece. And, so just practice and come up with your little demonstration order that you're going to do. Okay, and once you've got that down, then turn away from the mirror and do it without the mirror and practice, practice, practice. Because you want to make this look as easy as possible. It really is an easy thing, especially when you have a mirror in front of you. But when you don't have a mirror in front of you and you're demonstrating to people, it can be kind of tricky. You're going to get the hook snagged in your hair, and it is going to happen. But, just have fun with it and keep going. But the more comfortable you are with it, the easier it's going to look to your customers that are watching you demonstrate. And so make sure that you know how to use it well. And anyone that's helping you should know how to use it well too. And use the proper terms. Call them versatile pieces. I'm still struggling with this. I still call them necklaces sometimes, but are they just necklaces? No, they're not. They are more than a necklace. So call them versatile pieces. And then just work on your terminology with that. I think that will really help. So practice, practice, practice. The next most important thing in demonstrating is you have got to be excited. You have to be excited about this jewelry, or they're not going to be excited. And that comes through. If you demonstrate in a boring way with no excitement, no one's going to be excited about it. It's just going to be boring. The other thing is you need to believe in it. You need to believe in the concept and believe in the value. If you don't, that is going to come through and you're not going to be successful. We've already seen some people that have struggled. They feel like the jewelry is too expensive. And if you feel like the jewelry is too expensive, that is going to come through and you're not going to sell any. So you have got to be enthusiastic and you have to believe in the product. If you do not believe in this product, maybe this isn't the right thing for you. So think about that. It really is an incredible value, and you want people to see your excitement about that, and you want that to come through as you're demonstrating. So excitement is key. It really is. Okay, so we're going to practice. We're going to be super excited. You're going to dress nice. I see so many vendors at craft shows that do not dress nice. And it says something, okay? You want to look good. You want to be dressed one step above. You don't have to wear a formal evening gown, but, dress business, look nice. I would always tell my helpers to wear solid colors and wear stuff that your hooks aren't going to snag on. I had this one sweater that I wore to a show once, and it was like kind of loosely knit, so it was like holey, and every time I pulled my necklace around, the hooks would snag in it. And, so just think about, demonstrating, keeping your hair back, wear solid colors so the jewelry stands out, nothing too busy. So dress nice and dress appropriately. You want to stand up. Do not be sitting in the back corner. I see that all of the time too. People just sitting there waiting for people to come. That is like the worst possible thing you could do. You want to be on your feet, out front, talking to people, smiling and greeting everybody that walks by. Come up with a few different lines to get people's attention. You can say things like, I'd love to show you how you can wear one piece of Versatility jewelry multiple ways. Mialisia is changing the way that women wear jewelry. Let me show you how. How many different ways can you wear your necklace? Just come up with cute little things that you can say to get people's attention in a fun way. We don't want you harassing people in the aisles, okay? That's not what we do. We're just trying to get people excited. And the majority of women have never seen anything like this. And so if you can get them to stop and demonstrate to them, you're going to do so much better. So a lot of times we would just stand out in the aisle and just stand there and change, not, in front of your booth, but change up your jewelry. Just stand there and demonstrate. And you'd be amazed how many people will stop and watch. So your goal would be to demonstrate to everyone, okay? You want to get in front of as many people as you can, and every person that walks into the booth should see the concept. You want to demonstrate because we want them to have a conceptual experience, not a retail experience. If they just walk in and you don't say anything to them, they're going to think, oh, this is just a necklace, right? So you've got to show them how it works. When you're demonstrating, you'll notice that if you're demonstrating to one or two people, people that are walking by are going to stop and look. And what do you do when you see a group of people gathered around? Doesn't that kind of make you want to go and see what they're doing? It happens over and over. The crowd will get bigger and bigger and bigger. And as people come and start watching, make sure you're facing out and you're in a good spot where everyone can see what you're doing. Make eye contact with the people that start watching so they know that you see them and you're aware of them. Make sure you demonstrate well and talk really loud and just show people. I always tell people I lost my voice by the end of almost every show because I talked nonstop. I was on my feet. It's exhausting. It really is, but it can be so much fun if you do it with the right attitude. And you just talk to everybody. Let's see, accentuate the value as you're demonstrating. Ladies, how much would it cost you to buy a necklace and a bracelet and an anklet and a belt? It would be, way over $100, and you are not going to believe the value that you're going to, get with this necklace for such an amazing price. If you talk about it like it's an amazing price, they're going to believe you, and they're going to get excited about it too. So make sure that you accentuate the value. When you're talking with people, be sure to kind of read their body language. You're going to get those people that don't want to be talked to. They don't want you to help them. They just, want to be left alone. And so you just have to be real sensitive to that. And I think you can usually read people pretty quickly. If they're not, if you approach them and they're kind of standoffish, say, oh my gosh, feel free to look. If you want me to show you, how this amazing jewelry works, it's a new concept in jewelry, just let me know. I'll be right over here. I'm happy to help demonstrate that. Because a lot of people will be like, I'm fine. But as soon as you say that, they're like, oh, it works a certain way? Oh, yeah, well, let me just demonstrate really quickly, and then I'll let you, just take a look, and we'll leave you alone. So just read body language. Know when to jump in and know when to, step back a little bit. You don't want to harass people. But I will tell you that probably 80% of women want your help. They want your help picking stuff out. And so don't be afraid to make suggestions. Pick out something cute for their shirt that they're wearing. Validate their designs. If they put something together, be like, oh my gosh, that looks awesome. Grab your friend. Look what she designed. Isn't this cute? Get her friends involved. The more excited everyone is, the more excited she's going to get. And, if you like it that way, you should try this. Oh, look how cute this piece is layered with that one that you have on. Suggestive sell. You should see the earrings and the ring we have to match that collection. Help them. Most people want help. And they get excited when you give them that personal attention. I really, really feel like that personal attention makes all of the difference in the world. So, like I said, get the friends involved, just get excited and compliment them on the looks that they are creating. Just have fun. It might be fun to play a little bit of soft music kind of in the background if they allow that at the show. We always just had a little, for the holidays, we'd have holiday music playing, just something upbeat and fun. You want to make your booth a fun place for people to be. You are going to come across grumpy people. I'm sorry. They're out there, and it happens at every show. There's multiple just grumpy people. And I feel so sad for them. But you cannot take it personally. Don't get discouraged. You're going to get the people that are looking right at you and you talk to and they don't even acknowledge you. You're going to get the people that just walk straight by and you're 3 inches from their ear and they don't acknowledge you. You're going to get the people that tell you they're not interested or they've seen it before. Or, there are grumpy people out there, and just you have to let it roll off. It's hard. I'm not going to lie. It is hard. Some people can be very rude, and it's hard not to get discouraged by that, but we learned pretty quick, you know what, that's their thing. If they don't want to see our jewelry, that's their loss. They're missing out. And you have to just learn to toughen up and just not let that affect your performance, okay? Because you've got to just keep going, because 9 out of 10 people are going to be excited about what you have to show them. So don't worry about those grumpies. Okay. So you are going to want to gather information. I kind of have this rule, don't give unless you get. So if someone wants a catalog, say, absolutely, I would love to give you a catalog. Let me get your information so I can follow up with you. And most people will give you their information so you can follow up with them. For every sale, if you have time and it's not too crazy, have them fill out an order form, get their information. And then I would say follow up with them, about, 5 to 7 days later after that craft show, call everyone that ordered or that bought something and just say, hey, have you had a chance to wear your new piece of Versa-style jewelry? How are you loving it? Is everything going okay? Did anything happen? Are you having any issues? And take care of them. If you follow up and make them your personal customer, you will absolutely have return customers, and you're going to have a much better shot at booking parties off those people too. Do you love it? Are your friends loving it? Have you showed people how it works? Let's get some of your friends together. Let's do a party so you can get some free jewelry, I think there is so much value in gathering that information and making sure that you follow up with people, okay? So every sale you should be getting information. If they're willing to give it. Every time you give out a catalog or a concept booklet, make sure you're getting information so you can follow up with people. And follow up with the contacts. If you're getting information for parties, if you're getting interest on booking parties, make sure that you follow up with those people too within 48 hours, I would say. Keep that excitement going, because if you wait a week to call on those, they're going to lose excitement, okay? Especially if they didn't take home a piece of jewelry with them. They're going to be, they're going to lose excitement and they're going to kind of forget about it. So, and don't be afraid to let them know if you're getting their information. I'm going to follow up with you if that's okay. I'll either send you an email or a text, or I'll give you a call here in the next week just to see how you're liking your jewelry. If you set up that expectation with them, then they're going to be a lot more comfortable when you do call. So don't be afraid to do that. Set up the expectation and let them know that that's what you're going to do. A good way to gather information as well is to do drawings. I already told you we would do the email sign-up that just kind of sat there and let people sign up. At some of the shows that didn't have as much traffic, something fun that we would do is we would, have a little drawing. So people walking by, would you like to enter a drawing for a free piece of our Versa-style jewelry? And a lot of people would, and they fill out their email and their, name and drop it in a little thing. We'll say, okay, we're doing, we would do a drawing like every hour or every 2 hours or something like that. You can choose how often you want to do them. You don't want to spread them out too long with this setup, because we ask the people to come back. Okay, we're going to be doing the drawing at 2 o'clock, which is in 30 minutes. So make sure you come back. You have to be present to win the drawing. And then when everyone would come back, guess what I would do? I would demonstrate. So it's a great way to demonstrate to people that are just kind of passing by, that wouldn't have stopped for a demonstration anyway, that weren't necessarily in your booth shopping. You get all those people, and then what happens? You have this crowd of people around, and of course more people come around. And then you have this huge captive audience. You do the demonstration, you do your drawing for the free piece of jewelry, and the person who wins almost always came in and bought more pieces to layer with that Versatility piece that they won. And you can control that piece. You can, do one of the cheaper pieces or use one of your coupons from booking parties, to get an affordable piece to use for giveaways and things like that. So that can be a very successful way to gather information. Every show is going to be so different, and you just have to learn to kind of roll with it and learn. Don't be afraid to experiment with different ways to approach people and different ways to gather information and different ways to set up your display. Just be flexible and don't get discouraged. It can be a hard thing sometimes, and so don't get discouraged. Just be confident and be excited and have fun. I would say that was the biggest thing that made us stand out. We always stood out at craft shows because we were excited and we had fun and we looked nice and we had fun with our customers and we were friendly. You'll find at a lot of these vendor fairs, a lot of the vendors just kind of sit back in the corner and they're grumpy and they don't talk to people very much unless they come into their space. And, let's make a difference. Let's be different. I loved being different. I loved standing out, and I loved helping people have a fun experience when they were shopping in my booth. Those are my tidbits on how to have a successful craft show. We've got some questions, it looks like. Michael, are you going to ask the questions, or do you want me to just go through the ones that we have so far?
I'll just go ahead and present some questions for you.
Okay, sounds great.
We've had quite a few questions come in through Facebook and Twitter. Like I said at the beginning of the call, if you think of anything, hurry and submit it, and we'll just go through as many of these as we can. So our first question comes from Katie from Facebook. She said, I have great success generating leads from craft shows, but no luck at all on sales. How do you turn excitement for the product into inventory sales?
Okay, so this can be tricky sometimes, but what I would say, like if you have someone that's really excited about maybe, hosting a fashion event, and they're interested in that, what I would tell them is, that's great. Let's get you booked for a party. If they don't want to buy anything, I would say, if I were you, you might think about just getting a couple of pieces so you can demonstrate to your friends. If they can actually see the jewelry in action and see what it does rather than you just explaining it to them, I bet you're going to have a lot more excitement and a lot more people are going to come to your party. And guess what? The more people that come to your party, the more free jewelry you're going to get. So you can encourage them to even just take home one or two pieces that way. So, and again, it's just the excitement and encouraging people to do that.
Okay. Our next question comes from Jean. She wants to know, what is a good judge of sales from a craft show?
Okay, so, this is a tricky question, and I couldn't give you like a specific number on how much you would do that would be a successful craft show, because like I said earlier, you guys have such an advantage over what we did, where it's just number-wise, if we didn't do, $10,000, it wasn't the best show or whatever, you guys have such a greater opportunity because you can recruit and you can, book parties off of this, and that's so valuable. I would even say so much more valuable than selling. So it really just depends on the show. You have to know the show and kind of know what other vendors are doing, and keeping in mind that people exaggerate sometimes. But you have to there's a balance there. And you're going to know that like some of those gift shows during the holidays are going to be high inventory shows where you're going to sell a lot and people are going to walk away with a lot. And maybe some of the slower shows or expos or, fairs, you're going to do a little bit more recruiting. And so that's how you would kind of gauge your success from that. I always tell people, like I said, if I would so much rather book a party or recruit someone versus, selling a piece of jewelry. So there's a balance there for sure.
Kate, that kind of leads us to our next question. How much inventory should you take to a fair?
Okay, I touched on that a little bit. Again, you just kind of have to know what you're going into. If it's a gift show during the holidays, you're going to want to have more on hand. And if you do have some on hand, I would say take your favorite pieces, take some of the more popular pieces that you have experienced have been more popular, have a back stock of that, and then have a little bit of everything maybe. You just got to know what you're going into. And sometimes that's hard to know until you've been there and you've done it. So I would say start small. Start small. Don't go out and spend $20,000 on inventory for one show, if you've never done it before. Just wait and kind of see, test it out, take some extra with you if you can afford to do that. And then again, don't be afraid to take orders. And get people excited and get them to say, okay, this is what I want, this is what I want. Be like, okay, great. You know what? I happen to have this one on hand, so you can take this today. The rest, I'm going to go ahead and put an order in for you today, and it'll ship here really quick, and you'll have it, within a week. So that's what I would say to that.
Okay. When you partner up on a trade show with another designer, how do you share the profits and how do you share leads that are generated?
Okay, this is kind of a tricky question. I think there's different ways to do it. I would say carefully. Like I said, you don't want to partner up with too many. If you have 10 people sharing a craft show, that's going to get really tricky. And if everyone's bringing inventory, that's going to get really tricky. So what I've seen some people do is they go in together on inventory. They buy like a certain chunk of inventory. They all put in equal amounts. They all pay equal amounts at the show, and then they just split everything evenly at the end. I've also seen people where they don't do inventory. They just take orders, and whoever they help, they, get the sale for and the leads. Whoever they recruit or whoever they book, those are theirs, or they split the days up, where I have this day, you have this day, and you have this day. That can be tricky, too, because, some days are busier than others. You're going to have a Thursday through Sunday show, or your Saturday is crazy and your Thursday is kind of slow. So you have to be careful there. That is a tricky thing. And I would just say whatever you do, you need to come to an agreement with whoever you're partnering with before the show. So sit down and make out a plan, something that you both agree on, that you both feel good about, and then just have that set before the show happens. Because, you would never want, something like that to come between you and one of your designers or a friend or whatever. So just be careful there.
Okay, what is a good rule of thumb for how much to pay up front to participate in an event?
That all shows are different. Like there are some shows that we knew of that were just incredible, and you had to pay like $2,000 for, your booth fee or whatever, and that was like a small booth. You just got to know your show. You got to know your show. And I hate to tell people a specific number on how much they should spend and how much they shouldn't, because some of those shows, if you pay $2,000 for your booth and you make, $20,000, then it's very well worth it, So I would say if it's a smaller show, you want to keep it down in the low hundreds, don't spend too much. And then, if you come away from that, having recruited people and, booking some parties, then it's going to be well worth it for you.
Okay, we have another question. There was talk about kits that we'll be able to buy for craft and trade shows. Is that something that will still be happening, and when will that be available to designers?
Yes, that is something that we are working on, and we're really pushing hard for it to be out, in October sometime. I can't promise that, but that's what we are pushing for. So basically what it will be is it'll be like a $1,500, kit that you can buy that's got $2,500 worth of jewelry, and I think it's like you get, 5 or 6% more off of that to help compensate for your booth fees and, for buying in bulk like that. And it will just be a random assortment of jewelry in that. You won't be able to select what comes in it. It will just be a random assortment of bulk product that you can use at a little bit cheaper of a price so you can have a good amount of inventory at the shows. So that's what we're shooting for. And at this point, we just are going to do one. We will probably have a couple of different options eventually. And then we'll also have like a craft show, like display kit that you can have too eventually that will come with, some posters and banners and a tablecloth and some display stuff. So that's all stuff that we're working on. We're just trying to get up and get our feet under us. And, we want you to have all of the tools that you need to be successful. So we're working on it, and we're going to try and make it as easy as we can for you.
Okay, Jill on our Facebook page said, I loved the doors in your old business to display the jewelry. What other great ideas do you have for displays for trade shows?
Yeah, the doors worked awesome for us. I loved the doors because we could just fold them flat. We just drilled little holes in them. We just did the interior hollow doors, and we could put little pegboard hooks and hang stuff, and we used the little command strips to Velcro the display necklace displays on them. I liked them because they were flat. We could hinge them together. We could fold them flat, and I fit my entire display in my little minivan. It was awesome. So anything like that that's not super big and bulky. You don't want to make it super hard. I mean, our display was pretty labor intensive. I mean, it took us, 3 or 4 hours to do our setup, and I don't think it needs to be that complicated. I've seen a lot of people use like grid wall or maybe those smaller like bifold doors. You can use the little smaller things or, do tabletops. Sometimes we cut those little bifold doors in half and we would stick them on the tabletops kind of at the back of the table so you have some wall space there. Just do something pretty. Whatever it is, make it attractive. Don't just throw up something boring and ugly. Do levels, lots of levels. Levels make things look pretty. So just find boxes. You know what I got? I think I found them in like Hobby Lobby or something, but I got these little nesting boxes. It had like a dozen boxes all within each other up to like a great big box. And I would just take them all apart in different boxes and, lay, just cute fabric over the top of them and, display stuff. But like I said, make sure it's not unapproachable. Like you want it to be attractive, but you want it to be approachable. You want women to feel comfortable coming and just picking up a piece of jewelry and putting it on because that's what we want them to do. So you can have hand mirrors laying around that they can pick up and look. Just something not too complicated, but attractive and functional.
Okay, so those are all of our questions related to the topic. We do have just a couple of general questions, and since we have just about 10 more minutes, I'll ask some of those and see how far we get. Okay. The first one is, what are our future plans for corporate marketing, such as magazine ads, etc.? Okay.
So, right now we are just so focused on getting up and getting you guys everything that you need. We just want to get our feet under us and get everything running smoothly. We absolutely have huge plans for marketing and things like that. But that will be, I think our focus with that will start really next year once we get everything up and running smoothly. But we do have some plans. We will be doing a lot. We want to get out there and get our name out there, and we want to help you guys be recognizable as you're out there representing the company. So.
Okay, next question. I've heard rumors about ring sizers being included in our kits. Do we have any future plans to do that?
We actually have ordered ring sizers, and we will have them next week. They're just cute little basic ring sizers. They'll be available in your back office. They're going to be super cheap, so you can get those if you want those. I realize that that's really a helpful thing to have at the shows as you're doing that. So, yes, they're coming next week. Just keep watching for them. We'll have them.
Okay. Are there any plans to offer a fundraising plan that we can offer our customers?
Absolutely. The thing that I've seen people do most, even already, is you can do this on your own. It doesn't have to be a corporate-run thing. So if you want to do a fundraiser for like your kids, PTA or whatever, or someone's soccer team or this or that, all you do is just have your party and say, I'm going to donate, 20% or 30% of, the proceeds will go to, this certain organization, and that would just be something that you would donate out of your profits. Our company, we're really, really, passionate about helping different foundations and organizations. We're actually sponsoring, an event here in October for cancer, and we really are passionate about helping in different things, and we plan to multiple times a year be donating to different organizations and foundations, and so we will be heavily involved in that as well. But we would absolutely encourage you to do any of that you want on your end to get the buzz out there, and people will remember, and I think you'll stand out for that, absolutely.
Okay, and then our last question for today is the woman in the catalog on page 3 related to Annelise? They look like sisters.
That's funny. I have had that question so many times. And no, she's just a model that we found here in Utah. And so thank you. She's beautiful. I would love to look like her. And but no, none of the people in the catalog are family, just pretty girls. So, but thank you.
Okay, so a lot of really good questions. That's all that we have for today. So we want to say thank you for dialing in. Tell your friends, other designers, your upline, your downline. We'll be posting this into your back office by the end of today. So if anybody missed it, you can tell them to go and look in the back office and watch it there or listen to it there. And then if you have questions for next week's call, the Q&A with Sean, email those to support@mialisia.com. We'll be asking for questions through our social media as the time draws nearer. But that will be next Tuesday at 12 p.m. Central Time. So submit those questions, and we will try to get those all gathered and answer as many of your questions as we can. So again, we want to thank you for being a part of the call, and keep submitting your questions and keep participating. We love it. So thanks, Annelise.
Thank you. Thank you all for listening. We love you.